So Natasha, I'm going to ask you some community questions about Dune Awakening, and I know you can't answer all of them, so if you can't, you can just say pass or we're not talking about that right now. Okay, so one person wants to ask if you have a release date planned yet.
We do have a restart plan, but we can't talk about it just yet, sorry.
Can you talk about any specific plans for keeping the game updated? Do you plan to implement other classes like face shapers? Also, what role do Freemen play in the game since they said they were in hiding?
Okay, so
There's
I can't
three
really-
questions there.
Yeah, three question one. I can't really comment on the details, but obviously we plan a lot of additional things. It's a live game, so we want to add, potentially other areas that you can explore as well, like than the ones that we have at launch, and definitely more things. Potentially skill trees, potentially new things and stuff. So there's a lot in the works.
This person wants to know if you plan to add more hairstyles to the character creation other than what has been shown.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah.
So I know we talked about this at GDC, but you're working on server population. How big are your servers, and what will the population be?
So we actually have, with the next Dune Direct, we have something coming out where Joel, our creative director, will talk specifically about this and the server structure and how many people we expect in the different maps. So I don't want to take that out of the... I don't want to answer that now. Just tune in on the 20th of June on our Dune Direct.
Now, you've given us some press assets and have some gameplay trailers, but these players really want to know when they can expect to see real gameplay.
Gamescom.
Gamescom. Okay,
Yes.
that works out.
Gamescom is going to be our big gameplay reveal.
Can you talk about your relationship with Brian Herbert himself, and did you have specific limitations in terms of lore for the developers?
So obviously Joel would be a great person to answer that in more detail, but from what I know, we have very close relationship. Like Joel has been talking to the Herberts quite a lot, especially when we do want to change up the lore part, especially when we were talking about the big thing, like Paul has never been born, Jessica actually had a daughter, and they were very much on board with that. So the big decisions, we always run by them as well and have discussions with them.
Will Dune Awakening be beginner friendly for people who have never played survival game MMOs before?
100%. That's something that we really wanted to focus on. So we even have a specific part at the beginning of the game that we call New Player Experience, where we kind of teach the player mechanics, the base mechanics specifically. So we want to ease them into the game and not just drop them into it, right?
So can you talk about what clothing customizations are looking like currently?
Well, there's a lot of armor. We also are looking into a system where you can color your armor. There's probably maybe looking into transmorph systems. So there's a lot coming.
So can you talk about what your anti-cheat policy will be in Dune Awakening?
That I can't really talk about, unfortunately.
This person would like to know more about the crafting system. Is it more deep and complex than Conan Exiles?
More deep and I feel it's different because we have a modular approach to the crafting system, right? We have a system where you kind of choose which parts. For example, if you want to do a vehicle, we have a system where you can choose which parts you want to add to the vehicle. So it's a very different approach than what we have in Conan Exiles. I don't think you can compare them. It's definitely... It's just different, I think. It's the same, but also different. It's a little bit hard to answer that question at this point.
Yeah, the person also mentions, I know that you've mentioned having to collect blueprints, and they will be limited and will get wiped away by Corralis storms, making them more scarce and valuable when obtained. This can create an interesting economic market in the game that definitely can help in end-game longevity.
Absolutely. So there's both you can unlock things that you can build or you can craft them unlimitedly, but then there's also very unique schematics that have only limited uses. So there's this economic thing that we want to create, like the what is it called? Question and demand? No, what is it called in English? Supply and, yeah, exactly. Thank you.
So do you know if the game will be free to play with microtransactions, subscription-based, or one-time purchase?
We have not talked about that yet.
Will you support cross-platform play?
We are working on that, from what I understand, but there's no decision so far. It's a little bit tricky because also about how the server work and everything, so I'm not really sure about this at this point.
How major are the options available in players in terms of transforming the area specific to their bases, like trees, grass, catch basins of water?
Also terraforming, we don't have that. But you can actually, if you want, you can build kind of into the rock formations and stuff, and you can do really cool builds that way.
How will the story in the new alternate timeline advance given the difficulty of maintaining a cohesive narrative in an MMO game that places such weight on the player's actions, player guilds for example? Or will Arrakis, I'm going to say that wrong, Arrakis be forever locked in an eternal unchanging war?
Well, maybe. Maybe. I mean, the game is like we have a very strong narrative, right? A storyline and cinematics and things that the players are going to play through, and we will add to that also after release. So who knows what's going to happen? You know, you never know.
If somebody really wants a beta key, how can they get one?
Sign up for the beta.
Oh, we talked about this at GDC too, but are you going to have private servers, or is it an MMO with official servers only?
So, because of how the server structure works and the MMO part of survival, like of Dune Awakening, like survival MMO, it is a bit tricky. I know that, especially Joel, our creative director, he really wants an option for this, but right now it's a bit difficult to say.
Can you talk about, will there be a reputation system for the different factions, and can you align ally with them?
Yes.
Will the different factions have different specific schematics or things you can do as a reward for leveling up?
Yes.
Can you talk about the end game content loop? Like, what's it for players who want to spend thousands of hours in this game? How will you keep them playing after they've already gone through all the story content?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoil too much, but we have different things. We have like PvE things, but also PvP things. Like we have the deep desert that we talked about before. So the deep desert is like a huge area. I think it's like 9 times Corn and Exile, something like that. Hopefully I don't say anything wrong here. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of faction things going on. We have the Landsrat system with the political system attached to it, and players hopefully like fighting for better, fighting over spies, trying to kind of carve out their own way. Maybe becoming the next Baron Harkonnen, who knows? So there's a lot of things for players to explore and a lot of different things to do.
This person asked, will there be a healer class?
A what, sorry?
A healer class.
Oh, a healer class. Not that I know of. I think we've had at one point some healing things, but I'm not sure if there's any plans for having an actual healer class.
Will there be any crop farming, like food and plant farming at my house or base?
Not at the moment. I'm not sure if there's anything planned for later, so I don't know.
When can players find out more information about the questions that you couldn't answer in this interview today?
There weren't that many, though, to be fair.
There weren't?
No. We actually, yeah. Well, down the line, make sure to follow our socials, our Discord, and our news updates, and then you might get an answer to your questions, hopefully soon.